If you could use three words to describe Urtopia e-bike, which three words would it be?
First would be sexy, comfortable, flawless.
Can you tell about the life philosophy? What do you think about life? How do you see life? Because you go through so many things. I think you have much deeper understanding of life than me. So can you?
Well, I don't know. That's a pretty big question, but
Right.
I would say that I don't know. So I grew up very poor. When my dad lost all his money,
Okay.
went bankrupt when I was 10, and I basically had to go to work when I was very young, not to buy toys and stuff, but literally to earn money and give it to my family. And so I think my values about what life could bring
Yeah.
is probably different than maybe other people, because initially I didn't know how my life would turn out, other than the fact that I had a very good work ethic. But for me, my life now has been all about giving back.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time working in the nonprofit world.
Oh yeah.
I mentor a lot of young people, which I've done for a long time. But honestly, I would say in the last 10 or 15 years, mentoring young people has become so exciting. I've always had very good work ethics. I don't hang around with people that I don't think have good ethics. I don't hang around with people that are distrustful. I don't hang around with people that are trying to make a fast buck. I don't hang around that. If you're asking me about life, I would say that you should try to approach everything in your life to make it the best possible thing it can possibly be. It doesn't matter whether you have money or you don't have money. It's just that, you gotta have perspective on your family, perspective on your friends. And I guess I'm talking too much because no one's ever asked me that question. I would say that you just have to live an honest life.
Yeah.
I think leading an honest life for me is the most important thing.
When you face challenges and a tough life, what's the key to win? I think you have so much to say about this question, and I really want to know.
Well, I think that I think that things that go wrong are frankly the biggest learning opportunity for the future of all the things that go right. Because when things go right, there's not much to learn. But when something happens that's a glitch that you got to power through and figure out how to solve the problem. In business, if you make a mistake once, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you make the same mistake twice, that's just not acceptable. And so for me, I guess, as I've gotten older, I'm sure when I was younger, things that went wrong would seem devastating. But as I've gotten older and realized that most things that are devastating are big learning opportunities. And if you've got at least enough fortitude to hold things together, you can learn from it and build a much stronger company.
Yeah.
And that's not just in business, that's your personal life too. Things
Right.
don't always go personally, right?
Yeah.
And you can learn from these things and make yourself a stronger person, make your family stronger.
And another question is that you mentioned that you have the world record for the cycling. So how did you first get into the cycling, and what attracted you by the cycling?
I hadn't been on a bicycle since I was 13 years old. When I had, right after we started the cookie business, 6 weeks after we started the company, I was involved in a near fatal motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
And I was told by doctors I'd never walk again unaided. And I wound up using a bike. There's a long story about it in the book, but I wound up using a bike to rehab, and I couldn't run anymore because I'd been a runner. And I started using a bike for aerobics. And as I got stronger and stronger, I realized that I had been very lucky because I had the determination based on an incident you'll read about in my book to get better, to prove the doctors wrong. And so I started using the bike. And as I began to reclaim my legs and my ability to walk, I thought that my story could be motivating to other people that had found themselves in a similar situation,
Yeah.
but who might have just given up, just listened to what doctors had said and just stopped. And I decided I wanted to try to do something that I could use as an example. And so I decided I was going to ride my bike from Savannah, Georgia to San Diego, California, which is 2,800 miles. And I trained for 2 years to do it. I crossed the country in 15 days. It was sanctioned as a world record.
Yeah.
I felt no sense of accomplishment because I knew I could have done it faster and better. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just me, my wife, and my daughter.
Wow.
And so I started training again to do it again in 83. But this time I went to the Ultramarathon Cycling Association. I met at that time the 3 greatest ultramarathon cyclists in the country, one of whom is still one of my closest friends, a guy named Michael Shermer, and started learning about how they went across the country, which is, they had a full support crew and a motorhome and a massage therapist. And so in 83, I assembled that kind of crew. And I went out to break my record of 15 days. I set a goal of 10 days.
Wow.
I was on a sub 9-day record. I was less than 500 miles from San Diego. I got blown off my bike, broke my collarbone in half, and it was over. But if I had finished, I would have finished in about just under 9 days.
Wow.
So in 84, I set out one more time. And in 84, I did break my record. I had horrible wind, but I got across the country in 11 days, 8 hours and 15 minutes. I broke my record by over 4 days. And then in 1989, I joined a 4-man team to do the Race Across America, which went from Los Angeles to New York. We raced 4 other teams. We won the Race Across America. We crossed 3,000 miles in 5 days, 1 hour, 8 minutes. It's the fastest crossing of America ever by a 4-man team. And it's the fastest 3,000 miles ever done under human power. And those records still stand.
Wow.
So cool. So I continued to ride for years. After that, I was sponsored till 92. 92 is when I retired from racing, and I just had too many injuries, and my body was slowing down a little bit, even though I wasn't that old. But long distance cycling is different, is because it's not a question of being able to go really, really fast. Right. It's a question of being able to go fast and maintain it for a very long period of time. Yeah. So yes, I still ride. Obviously, that's why I bought your bike.
Yes. And also, I read about your story that you care about the education and you want to inspire the young people. So, if you could give 3 advices to the young people today, what would it be?
I'll give you the advice that was given to me when I was 22 years old by a very successful guy on an airplane. When I asked him that question, I said, what advice would you give a young guy that's going out into the business world now? And he looked at me and he just said, take risks as early as you possibly can. Yeah. Because the chances are it may not work out, and give yourself plenty of time to recover. He said, the longer you wait to take risks, the more complicated your life's going to get, and the harder it's going to be able to take those risks. Right. And so I've always carried that. So that would be my number one thing. But you're already doing that. Got your own business. You're an international company. I hope you're doing well. I hope business is good.
Thank you.
And I guess the second thing would be is don't try to build a business with the intention of selling it. Just build a great business. And if you build a great business, build a great reputation for that business, eventually someone's going to come along and try to buy it. And you may decide at that time, no, I don't want to sell this business. I've got other things I still have yet to do with this business.
Yeah.
And I guess the third thing would be is build your life around integrity. Build your life so that you don't have to, when someone asks you a question about something that happened in the past, if you tell the truth the whole time, you never have to question what the answer is. If you made up stories along the way, you got to go back and remember the story you made up.
Yeah.
So I live a life of integrity. And I think those three things are in strong guiding points to get people through their life.
Cool.
The other thing too is that building a business or building your life, there's no guarantees of success.
Right.
I mean, even the most successful businesses, I mean, they're running down a highway where one side of the road is success and the other side of the road is failure. And it's easy to fall off the cliff.
Mm.
The one thing that businesses have got to constantly do is innovate. Because, and this is one of the things that I always try to tell young entrepreneurs, there's no exhaling in business. There's no thinking, I got this. There's no thinking, yeah, we've made it. Because the truth is that if you have a great concept and a great business, there are 50 people standing in the sidelines figuring out what you're doing. And if they decide to go into that business, the great success you've had in all the things you've built, that's their starting point. They know they've got to move beyond that. So one thing you've got to be able to do in your business, even in this business you're in today, is you've got to constantly be innovative. You've got to constantly staying ahead of those wannabes out there that are going to try to get into your business, steal a design, create a better design. You're the one that's got to stay ahead of that, because if you don't, you can lose the position that you're in. Yeah. And I have to tell you, you see that today in a lot of different businesses, including like Tesla.
Yeah.
I mean, Tesla is up against so much competition, but the one thing they've been able to do continuously, because basically their car is nothing more than an iPad, they can innovate through the air and put things in those vehicles that they might have not have had a year ago, but suddenly it's there. Yeah. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for companies like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Cadillac, companies here and all over the States to create that kind of innovation and constantly know that they've got to keep improving. Right. America got shook up pretty bad by the Japanese back in the 80s. Yeah. And there was literally an American Revolution that changed in manufacturing, and they've been now managed to really kind of come back. Right. But if their mindset slips into, well, we got this now, that would be a very bad thing. Yeah. And I don't think you're going to do that. I think you've got a very innovative company. You have the most unique electric bike, I guess. I mean, I searched the internet before I bought your bike, believe me. Okay. Yeah. What else was out there? The design of the bike and all of that, where did that all come from? Because it's such a unique design. Yeah, that's why I bought it. That's why I bought it. I ride a regular bike, but I was so intrigued by the design of the bike that I ordered one for me and one for my wife just because I wanted to have one.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like a piece of art.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, that's the most motivation I started this company. I mentioned that all the bikes are ugly. All the e-bikes are ugly. I want to build up some unique. So I have a friend. Actually, the friend, he is a very top designer in China. and he has a lot of good friends, the top designer all over the world. So he introduced the Mr. Heller to me, and Heller actually is a former designer from the BMW. So he designed the BMW i series car. So the design is from him. Actually, it's a Mobius ring concept in this bike. Because I want good design. So I work with these top designers. That's why we got a very good design.
There's nothing like it at all, period.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think, and we will continue provide a beautiful and unique design of my bike. Yeah.
And I love the alarm on it. You know, you go inside, have a cup of coffee somewhere. You don't have to worry about anybody taking your bike. They can take it, but you can't do anything with it.
Right. Yes. That's a very useful function for anti-theft.
It's been delightful to meet you.
Okay.
You're a very exciting guy, and I think you've got an incredible company, and I think it could be huge, honestly. I mean, I think if you keep doing what you're doing in innovation and stay ahead of the pack, I think the numbers are endless as to where you can go.